Hello everyone, how you doing today? I'm Leoben, and I'm playing Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team. I've got my table set up for a joint ops mission, which you can play solo or co-op. I'll be playing solo. My team is the Angels of Death, set up on my side here. And I'm playing against the Goremonger NPOs. So they may look like Goremongers, the models are Goremongers, but their stat lines are from the core book has NPO stats. You could use any models you want to. The stats are basic. There are brawlers and there are marksmen, and they have 3 levels: a trooper, a tough, and a heavy. So I'm using mostly tough brawlers, and then the marksmen are troopers, warriors, and heavy. So most of the models are going to be right in the middle range. I think I have 1 heavy, their leader. He's their leader. And most of them are melee fighters. I think I have 2 with ranged weapons. So they're going to want to get into fights, come after me. Alright, so in the mission, this is Sabotage. It's a second mission from the core rulebook. My objective is to sabotage 3 objectives. You can see them 3D printed objectives there. There's one here just offset from the middle, and there's another one inside the structure here. 4 turning points to do that, so I'm going to have to hurry a little bit, and in the meantime I'm going to try to stay alive because I'm going to be terribly outnumbered. I think there are 8 models in the NPO team. I have 6, but once I kill 4 of them, once I get them down to half, they respawn. They get reinforcements. I'm going to be playing straight out of the book, so I'm not going to use any house rules. I'm not going to change any rules like that. So I haven't played a joint ops mission yet, so I'm going to try it just as it's written in the book, and then afterwards I'll make some judgments and maybe I'll make some changes in house rules, because I like to play solo and I like to be engaging. I like it to be unpredictable. So usually when that's the case and I play a game where I can kind of figure it out, I'll add some randomness to it. But not today. Today I'm just going to go by the book. Alright, so let me roll dice for initiative. I'm going to roll blue dice for the Angels of Death and these orange dice for the Goremongers. Let's tie. Alright, the Goremongers have the initiative, so they'll take the first activation. I photocopied the page out of the book. This is the threat principle that drives the AI. So when making decisions for them, whatever is worse for me is what I'm going to try to do. Their priority is they want to shoot and fight. They want to get into combat. There's going to be no guard because I'm not on the closed quarters map using the Vulcus terrain, so they're going to want to move into cover. They're going to always want to stay into cover. They want to move closer to me, especially the ones that want to get into melee combat. And then, they'll want to shoot and fight. So pretty straightforward. So according to this, I'll probably move one of the models that can shoot first. So they're going to want to move up, get into cover, and it looks like they also want to, if they can't get close to me, they want to get close to an objective. So the first NPO I'll activate is that one. And I think the move is going to be to reposition and get behind cover next to the objective here. I don't think there'll be enough movement to get behind that barricade. Yeah, there actually is enough movement to get behind the barricade, so that's what I'll do. Okay, so for my activation, I can't shoot that model because it's in concealment and it's behind cover. Makes it not an eligible target. I've got a heavy intercessor gunner. Then I've got a grenadier. In the middle of the board, I've got an intercessor warrior with my captain. And on the left flank, I've got the intercessor assault marine with an eliminator sniper. So my first activation will be to move the sniper up the ladder on top of the building so I can have a couple of fire lanes down the middle of the board and down the left flank. So after a reposition and a dash, there's my eliminator sniper, and it moves back over to the NPOs. I'm going to move their second model with a ranged weapon. I think it's going to be just to move up, get behind cover next to the objective right here. All right. So the model's got cover. It's concealed. So again, not a good target. I think I'm going to move up. It's one of my models here in the middle. I'll move the warrior. He's going to step around that barricade. He's going to hop over this wall and get into this middle structure here. And you can see I put that 32mm template down. That's just the way I use, that's the way I measure movement instead of using a tool just to move an inch. That's basically an inch right there. And then I could measure 2 more inches from that, which will give me my dash. That's where I'll end up at the end of the marker, at the end of the template. And from there, I'll reposition up over the wall and into the structure. Okay, here I am after my dash. Now for the reposition, I can get up over the wall. Each vertical distance counts as at least 2 inches. And I have to be within an inch of it horizontally and 3 inches vertically. So I'm good to jump over that. It's going to cost me, how tall is this? I think 2 inches high. Yeah, the wall's about 2 inches high. It's going to cost 2 inches to go up. It'll cost another 2 inches to go over it. And then it doesn't cost anything to drop down onto the crate there. So I'll have 2 more inches to move after I get up over the wall. And I use that movement to get a little further into the building, kind of behind that barricade there. I'm not quite going to be able to take advantage of the terrain for cover because I'm not within an inch of that barricade. So technically I could be targeted there. Even though I'm in conceal without cover, I could still be targeted. I would get a bonus though. Okay, actually that's not right. Just because I'm concealed, I don't think I get any bonus, but after checking, I do get a bonus for intervening terrain. So that piece of terrain will give me cover if line of fire crosses it and I'm partially behind it, which is obscured. All right, so the NPOs will take their activation. I'm going to move one of the models up in the middle here. They're going to move straight up the center of the board next to the objective there and try to maintain cover. Okay, after a dash, he winds up right next to the wall. And then on a after reposition, he's next to the wall. Then on a dash, he can climb for 2, move for 1, and drop for 0. The only problem is that leaves him, well, he's not in the open. He's behind this barricade. So he still has cover. That's his movement. All right, looking over here on the left side, I'm kind of afraid of these 3 warmongers, especially if they come around. They'll have cover of that building, and they can get behind me and up the ladder and take out my eliminator, but it's going to be a couple of turns till they do that, or a couple of activations. And I've really got to concentrate on getting to the objective, so I thought about kind of guarding my eliminator with this assault marine and having him come around the building here and kind of taking out whoever tries to get to the ladder. But rethinking it, I'm going to move to the center. I think I'm going to focus on getting that center objective first, and then whichever way I can get to the next objective. So I am going to move the intercessor assault marine, and he'll try to get into the center here next to the warrior with a reposition and a dash. Now my marines have 3 APLs. There is like no Overwatch in this, so I'm kind of wasting an action. But once my targets become engaged and eligible to shoot or attack, I'll make use of their 3 APLs. Okay, it's exactly 4 inches to get to the wall here, and then even though this is only an inch, it counts as 2 to get up there. So that's his full 6 inches. He can't be stuck up in the air. He still needs at least an inch to move over. So what I'm going to do is dash first for 3, and then reposition into the ruin. Okay, and his final point is right there on top of the crate. Alright, looking at the MPOs and looking at the threat principle, I still want to move, maintain cover, and get close to the enemy. I think the answer to that is going to be to move these through the ruin, through the structure, and try to get through the door here. That gives them cover, and then they'll be getting closer to the eliminator and the marines in the middle, instead of coming down and running through this exposed alleyway. There's no cover here. The only cover is taken by the model here with the that harpoon gun. So I'll activate the one in the middle first, climb the wall, and run down straight through. Okay, there was enough movement in the dash and the reposition to get up over the wall and sprint all the way through the middle of that building to the wall. So I left his marker up on top. Can't see him, but he's in there. And I'm going to go back over to the Marines, and I'm going to activate one of these. We'll leave the heavy intercessor gunner back to cover, and I'll move my grenadier up. I guess I'll try to move him up to the barricade. As you can see, I have enough movement to move to the barricade with an inch, 2 inches, that's his dash, and then I can get anywhere up in here if I wanted to. I'm wondering now if I would have been able to charge him. Charge is a 6-inch reposition plus 2 inches. That would have been interesting, but you know what? Let's just stay with the movement. And I'm going to move him to this edge right there. Okay, and then the MPO Goremonger behind the building there is going to come up. And with a reposition and a dash, he'll wind up close enough to the barricade to get cover. Alright, on the other side of the board, I've still got 3 more NPOs to activate. The one on the edge here, I will go along the outside of the building because he'll have cover the whole way through. See if he can make it to that barricade. Alright, and as you can see, he can make it. Steps out from around the edge, goes another 5 inches. That's his reposition, and then a dash. Puts him probably within engagement range of that barricade. Alright, I have 2 Marines yet to activate, my captain and the heavy gunner. The heavy gunner would love to shoot, but those 2 goremongers are concealed and behind cover. More than likely, next turning point, they're going to be attacking my grenadier. So I probably should move there. Question is, should I move with my captain, who's much better at hand-to-hand combat? Captain can try to get over there. He's not quite going to make it. He's going to be short of the barricade, but I don't know if there's anyone around there to shoot him other than this model right here, who's got the pistols. Yeah, I think I'm gonna push on the right side, so I'll move my captain over there with a reposition and a dash. After his movement, there he is out in the open, which could be a problem if the goremongers get initiative in the next turning point. But if I get the initiative, he's within charge range, and with his power fist and his better stat line, he should make short work of these. All right, the goremonger in the center, he's got options. He's got his leader, who hasn't activated yet. There's one goremonger inside the structure. There's another coming around the end of it. So technically 3 on this side of the board. There are 2 goremongers in the center, right up by the objective. And there are 2 on the right side, but they may be in jeopardy. So I think I'm going to move this NPO to the right flank. Okay, after our dash and a reposition, there he is behind the cover of the building, ready to help out his 2 buddies over there by the barricade. Final activation for me is going to be my gunner. And I could move up and try to get in position for a shot where they won't have cover of that barricade. I don't think that these will have cover because they're within 2 inches of an enemy. And I think in the book it says that they can't take advantage of cover if they're within 2 inches. But I don't know if that's the enemy attacking them or any enemy. You have to check it. Chances are that's going to be a fight. Yeah, I'll move the gunner up. I have to get close to the objective anyway. If I have to have multiple Marines getting up there just in case they die. Mine don't come back. Okay, the heavy intercessor gunner's movement is only 5. So the furthest he can get, you can see there, is still pretty good because he'll be next to that goremonger. I can't be within engagement range, so I'd have to come wide a little bit towards the edge of the board. Alright, so 1 activation left in the turning point for the goremongers. I guess the leader will come through, follow the one that went before him, so he'll have to hop over that wall and get into the ruin here. Alright, so he made it. Not quite as far as the other one, but he's in there. I feel like I made a mistake with the activations along the way because the goremongers have 8 models and I have 6. They did go first, but I feel like they should have had 2. They should have had an extra one right now. So maybe I took a double turn for them somewhere along the way and didn't realize it. But anyway, that's the end of the first turning point. Alright, so to start the second turning point, let me roll for initiative. Alright, I got it. That's good. So probably I have to refresh my tokens. Probably going to do here. I'm going to go here and shoot with the heavy gunner before this becomes a fight. And I got to remember to get an extra command point. And I'm going to take a look at the strategic ploys. Okay, while looking at the strategy ploys, I came across the faction rule page, which I photocopied from the community website, and I realized here that I forgot to choose my chapter tactics, which this seems really overpowered. It seems I could pick up to 2 chapter tactics to apply to my Marines. I should have done it when I selected the team. The ones I would choose are aggressive and dueler. So my weapons have rending, and whenever I'm fighting or retaliating, I could use a normal success to block a critical. That's pretty good. Now I wonder if that's always in effect or if I have to use a ploy to make that happen. Because there is a ploy where I choose a combat doctrine. I think that's different though. I think I will spend a command point before I activate my heavy intercessor gunner to choose tactical doctrine, shooting an operative within 6 inches of it. So I have tactical doctrine. I'm not sure what that gets me though. Oh, it gets me balanced. The weapon becomes balanced. Okay, yeah, so I'll spend the command point to do that. Okay, so activating my heavy intercessor gunner, he'll shoot at that Goremonger armed with a huge axe. I've got 5 attack dice for the heavy bolt gun, and it's got piercing 1, which means the Goremonger will roll 1 less defense dice. And I've got balance, so I could re-roll one of my attack dice. I'll go over here to roll it. I'm hitting on 3s. Re-roll 1. So I've got 4 hits. No defense for the Goremonger. I gotta check what rending means. I think that must have something to do with critical though. Hold on. Yeah, so if I rolled a 6, I could count one of my standard successes as a critical as well. That's rending. But I didn't roll any criticals. So just 4 base damage. The base damage of a heavy bolt gun is 4. That's 16 damage to the Goremonger. He's dead. That is a tough brawler. And as you can see here, only 10 wounds for the tough brawler. So he's taken out. And it'll go over to the NPO side for an activation. And this gunner has gone. Actually, he can go again, because that was only his first APL. I can attack twice, as long as it's a bolt weapon for my second attack. So why not shoot again? I'll shoot the next one. It'll be the same dice, 5 dice for the Marine, 3 dice defense for the Goremonger. At that time, the Goremonger, oops, I shouldn't have rolled 3. I should have rolled only 2. Let me re-roll their defense. So 2 blocks. Actually, yeah, that's a tough marksman. So it's a 4-up save. So the 2 4s count as blocks, and the attacks are only 1 hit, but I could re-roll one of them because of balanced. Oh wow. Okay, so only 1 goes through, but it gets blocked, so no damage. And a third activation for him. I'm not sure if he could reposition after shooting. I'd have to check. So you know what? I'm just gonna dash. Usually when you shoot a heavy weapon, it'll say it in the stat line. It'll have like parentheses dash only or something like that. And for the heavy intercessor gunner, after firing the heavy bolter, it doesn't say that. So I guess he could do a reposition, which I will. I'm going to move up as close as I can to that objective. Okay, he ends up there. The NPO activation will be this Warmonger with the pistols. She does not want to be anywhere near melee combat, so she'll back away, try to find cover, and shoot. Alright, she was just able to squeeze over the objective and behind that terrain, and is just an inch away from the heavy intercessor gunner. So that's a legal move. And she'll shoot the closest target, which is the gunner. Her stat line says she uses firearms, 4 dice, hitting on 4s, 3 defense dice for the Marine, saving on 3s. Okay, it looks like 2 hits to 1 successful defense. So 1 is blocked, the other goes through for 3 damage. My captain is going to charge. I could go a reposition plus 2 inches to charge that NPO in the corner of the structure there. Alright, so that's going to be a fight. And he's got a power fist, which has got brutal, which means that only critical successes block for the Warmonger's defense dice. And the damage is 5/7. No criticals, so no blocks. A hit on 3s, so only 2 hits. That's going to be enough to kill because 5 damage per is 10. That is a tough brawler with 10 wounds exactly. And that takes him out. Okay, moving over to the left side of the board. I've got some things to do in the middle here. They could possibly charge my Marines. They could shoot my Marines. But over here I've got this brawler sprinting down, and he's in direct line of sight of my marksman, or this is my eliminator sniper, with advantage. So that would make that piece of terrain insignificant. So I think the best option for the NPO side, and the worst for me, is to activate this Warmonger, have him reposition and dash, try to get behind the building for cover, at least, and then try to get up there to attack the sniper. You got pretty far. Alright, for my activation in the middle here, I would like to shoot first before I charge. So I think I'm going to take a shot with the sniper. And he'll shoot at the ranged marksman right there. The terrain counts as heavy. My sniper has Seek Light, so that ability won't come into effect, only with light terrain. Okay, yeah, so I can't shoot that NPO because it's got a conceal marker and it's behind heavy cover. So I think I'm going to have to charge. It's the same thing as here, concealed behind that barricade. I'm going to charge with the Assault Marine because he's got the chainsword. Okay, so the Assault Intercessor Warrior has the chainsword, 5 dice. The NPO brawler is only a trooper. So he's my only trooper, only 7 wounds, and rolls 4 dice with ceaseless on his weapon, which means I could reroll a 1. Alright, no 1s, and the NPO hits on 4s. So these are misses, and these are misses. No criticals. Right, the attacker goes first, so the Marine will hit. Or should I defend? I'm only doing 4 damage per hit, so I want to try and kill him here with 1 go. So I'm going to hit him for 4. So the NPO takes 4 damage. Now the NPO is going to try and hit me, since I have no defense dice to block it. Hits me for 3. How much is it? Yeah, 3 damage. I'm going to hit him again for 4, and that kills him, because there's only 7 wounds for a trooper. So actually I should have blocked the first one. So if I rewind that, I could do that first and block. Then his next attack, he gets nullified. Then I hit him for 4. He hits me for 3. I hit him, kill him. It works out the same. So it's that guy there. He's dead. Alright, so far this is going pretty well for me. The NPO is going to shoot into the building at the assault marine. So it's this model right here. Alright, so 4 dice. It's a warrior marksman. So using a firearm, 4 dice, hits on 4s. I'm going to roll 3 dice for defense. I'm not getting cover here because I believe that the target, even though I'm close to that wall, the attacker is right next to the wall shooting. So basically he's leaning over the wall and shooting me, and I'm kind of in the open there. That's a whiff, although do I have ceaseless on shots? I don't, so I can't reroll that. So nothing happens. I have 2 blocks here anyway, so even if he had 2 successes, I would block 2 of them. And now that he has an engage order, my Eliminator Sniper can shoot him. So that's what I'll do. Okay, looking at his stat line, the Sniper Eliminator has some options. Why won't it? There we go. No, it just doesn't want to zoom. Anyway, the bolt sniper rifle executioner is 4 attacks, 3 damage. Hits on 2s. They all hit on 2s. 3 damage, 4 critical. It's heavy, so I could dash only. I'm not going to move. And it's got saturate, which I think takes away cover saves. He's got seek light, which means he can shoot concealed targets past light terrain, I think. And he's got silent, which means he can shoot while still in conceal. That's the one I'm going to use because I want to take away his cover save for being behind the structure there. So it's going to be 5 dice, hits on 2s against the 3 defense dice. No criticals, but they're all hits since I hit on 2s. So 5 hits. It looks like I have 2 blocks, or 1 block with a critical. That's probably going to be a dead NPO. 3 damage. 1 gets taken away, so that's 3, 6, 9, 12. Shooting against a warrior marksman with only 8 wounds. Killed him. Okay. I've got 2 models inside the structure here that are going to start to move. In turning point 2, first one is up against the door here, so he's going to activate the door, come through, and try to run around. Actually, probably try to run towards the middle, try to get these guys. He wants to run to get closest to attack, because he's a melee fighter. Yeah, so that's what he's going to do. Okay, so he opened the door, and he ran all the way to the edge of the building. He's still concealed, but he doesn't have cover. But that's okay for now. The sniper is already shot in this turning point. At this point, I've got my my grenadier that hasn't activated. He could take 2 shots at that NPO. It's got a heavy bolt pistol, which got an 8-inch range. So I do have range to hit with the pistol. Okay, so a heavy bolt pistol, 4 dice to attack. It's on 3s, and the Warmonger has cover from the light rubble layer. So that's going to be an automatic success on one of the dice. Alright, so there's the cover save. These 2 failed. And 3s hit, so that was a 3. I knocked it over. Looks like a rend. Rend makes another critical. So these 2 cancel. 2 criticals go through on a pistol. Critical is 4 damage, so that's 8. 8 damage to a warrior marksman is enough to kill him. He's got exactly 8 wounds. That model has died. Okay, before I activate the next NPO, I have to respawn. I have to randomly respawn from the dead models, which are all... One of them is a trooper. The others are tough. 3 of them are melee fighters. One of them is a ranged. Say 1 to 3 will be the melee fighter. 4 to 6 will be the ranged. So the melee guys come in. There's 2 of them. And they come in on 6 inches from the edge of their deployment. So they'll come in at the end of the... They'll come in right there. Or the same on the other side of the board. But I think here is the place where they're going to come in. Okay, they do that as a strategic ploy. And so now for their activation. One of them is going to charge probably the heavy gunner. Alright, so there's the fight. NPO has got the blades, 4 attacks, hitting on 4s with ceaseless, so I can reroll a 1. And the heavy intercessor gunner is using his fists, hitting on 3s. That's 3 blocks. Well, this is melee, so let's do it correctly. These are hits. Ceaseless lets me reroll. Let's still miss. Alright, the attacker first. The attacker wants to get this through because that's critical. It's going to be 5 wounds on the heavy gunner, which puts him at 8. He's got 10 left. He's got 18 wounds. Now, I could block, which I'll set this as a block, which blocks the next attack. set this as a block, blocks the attack. The next two go through for 6 damage. Fists are only 3 damage, so 6 go through. That leaves 2 wounds left on that NPO. Hope I did that right. And sometimes the melee confuses me a little bit on how you assign the dice and some of them with the blocking and such, but this is only like my 3rd or 4th game of Kill Team, so I'm bound to get some rules wrong. You can let me know in the comments what I'm doing wrong. Alright, I have nobody left to activate, so I could counteract. Cannot counteract with a concealed model, so the sniper cannot shoot, but everybody else has got an engage. Oh wait, I didn't activate my warrior, so I do have to do this guy first. I can see if I have enough to charge, but I don't think so. Let me measure it. I don't have enough movement to get up over the wall and charge that model. It is in conceal and behind heavy cover, so I cannot shoot it. So what I'm going to do is just get to that center objective. Alright, so he got to the center objective with a reposition and a dash, and since I do have 3 APLs, for his 3rd, he will sabotage that central objective marker. Alright, I have one, let's see, I know I have one NPO in the building here that hasn't activated. And I think that's it, everyone else is activated. There are 5 NPO models on the board, so there's no strategic ploy to bring in reinforcements. There's 2 on this side, there's 1 in the middle, there's 1 in the ruin, and there's 1 over here ready to get up the ladder and try to kill my sniper. So I'm going to come straight over the wall here. He's just next to the wall. You can see the edge of his blade. This is their leader. I'm going to jump over the wall, and maybe I have enough to charge. So yes, the heavy brawler had enough to charge my intercessor warrior, so that's a fight. The heavy brawler has got 14 wounds, 5 attacks, hits on 3s, 4 regular damage, 5 on criticals and ceaseless. Can perform 2 fight actions during an activation. However, it's only got 1 activation left because it used the first 2 for a dash and a move, dash and a reposition. So for its 3rd APL, he's going to fight. My warrior is attacking with his fists. So 5 dice to 4 in favor of the Warmonger. Both hits on 3s. The warrior doesn't have any special abilities. The Warmonger has ceaseless, so rerolling 1s. I get 1/1 to reroll. That becomes a hit. Alright, that is no good. The hits. There are 2 criticals here. Wow, 3 criticals. And these 2 are no good. This is bad news for the warrior. Attacker first. I'm going to hit with a critical for 5 damage. The intercessor warrior has 14 wounds. Could I see if I could try to keep him alive here? I'll block. Set this up as a block. So that takes away 1 of these. Then another 5, that's 10. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to survive. I just died without doing any damage. I probably should have had an attack get through, but I'm not going to rewind that. So yeah, that's plenty of damage, enough to kill the Intercessor Warrior. So wow, heavies are no joke. Well, so far this has been pretty easy. I don't know if it's dice rolling or just my decision making and how I'm playing, but probably next time I play, if it remains this easy, I'll add more heavies. Okay, well at least that Intercessor Warrior sabotaged the objective before he perished. I could have sworn I attacked with my Grenadier. Maybe I forgot to move his. Maybe I forgot to do his. I thought he shot his bolt rifle. I think he did, and I forgot to change his marker. I'm pretty sure he shot the NPO that was behind cover there. So I'm done, but I can counteract. He can see that model there, even though it's concealed. It has no cover. Maybe it does have cover. I don't have my laser light with me, but yeah, it looks like it's partially behind the heavy terrain, so I don't think that is an eligible target. This one is in a fight, so can't shoot him. I cannot counteract with a model in conceal, so my sniper can't counteract. I think I'll counteract with my warrior. I mean my intercessor assault marine. Yeah, so for his counteract, he's got 1 AP. He can't move more than 2 inches. So I'm just going to shoot. I'll shoot their leader. Okay, with his heavy bolt pistol. Hitting on 3s. I've got the heavy brawler saves on 3s, so he just rolled 3 saves. One of them being a critical save. And I've gotten 3 hits from the Intercessor Assault Marine. So they all get blocked? No. Yeah, save on, this is a success. So these 3 block these 3, it was a whiff. Alright, is that the end of the turning point? I don't see any more activations possible. Everybody looks like they've expended their tokens. Everybody is done. So that's the end of the second turning point. I'm halfway through the game. I'm down 1 model. My Intercessor Warrior is dead. My heavy gunner's got some wounds on him here. Everybody else is okay. My Intercessor Assault Marine is in trouble because he's got the heavy brawler, their leader, with some help next to him. And my sniper is being threatened. So I'm going to cut the video here. I'm going to end it after 2 activations, and I'm going to continue it a little bit later on today and see what happens if I can pull this one off. It looks like it's going to be a close one because I may take this objective if I can come out with a surviving Marine to sabotage that one. Issue I think I'm going to have is this objective here, which is what I figured in the beginning, just from deployment and the way things were set up. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was helpful to you to learn the game. I know it's been said that this is a good way to learn the game, to do joint ops. It definitely gets you looking in the book at different abilities, what they do, looking at cover, looking at what vantage is. Like I had to look up vantage with my sniper here being 2 inches or more above an enemy model. Yeah, it's a fun game. I like Kill Team, and I'm really glad they came out with rules so you can play it by yourself. Well, I hope you have a nice Memorial Day today, and I'll see you next time.